Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm Zafar Bangash. Welcome to another episode of Ramadan Journey. My guest, as usual, is Imam Muhammad Al-Asi, who is the Mufassir of the Noble Quran titled the Ascendant Quran, Realigning Man to the Divine Power Culture. And of course, in recent years, Imam Al-Asi has produced two wonderful translations of the meanings of the Noble Quran. One is an Arabic English version, which of course is meant for the general Muslim audience, and the other one is only in English, where the Arabic terms have been simplified to get an approximate meaning of those terms into English, so that those non-Muslims who are not familiar with Arabic terms, that they would be able to understand the message and the meanings of the Noble Quran. Imam Muhammad Al-Asi, welcome again to another episode of our program.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've been discussing various concepts of the Noble Quran, and today I want to pick up with you two particular concepts that again tend to create a little bit of confusion in the minds of some Muslims. And the two concepts are, one is kufr and kafir, interrelated. The other is shirk and mushrik. If you could please elaborate how, for instance, should we understand the word kufr?
The word kufr in its pre-Islamic Arabic usage simply means to cover. Even the word in English, cover, kufr, I mean, there's a similarity there. Yes. So that's the basic linguistic meaning of the word. When the Quran was revealed, the word gained what is called a shara'i extension. It still has the same original flavor to it, but now it has a shara'i range. And what it means, because the Quran is using the developed meaning of what was originally just a simple linguistic word. So what it means here is to cover the facts that are embedded in our nature, in existence, in life, and the way all of this relates to the Creator. Whoever takes issue with that, and people take issue with that as far as an ideological and philosophical level. People, thinkers or philosophers and ideologues will develop an argument against God or against Allah. They will develop that mindset into a philosophy or into an ideology, and that is called kufr. Shirk is the operational part of kufr. When the kufr is put into practice, it's no longer a theory, it's no longer a philosophy. Now we have a system that is operating according to the theories of kufr. So shirk is much more serious than kufr itself. That's why an ayah in the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, says, وَقُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. And say, truth and justice comes from your sustainer, but you have a choice. You either commit yourself to your sustainer, or you deny him or reject him. Allah has given us the freedom to either become mu'mineen or become kafirin. And then the ayah goes on to say, وَقُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ إِنَّا أَعْتَدْنَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ نَارًا. We have prepared for those who do injustice, and injustice is a peculiarity of shirk. For them, Allah has prepared a blazing fire. So there's another ayah in the Quran that says, "Inna shirka la dhulmun azim." Shirk, which I said is the operational part of kufr, becomes a mass injustice. So that's what we are dealing with. Right. And these concepts have to be clear in the minds of Muslims who want to acquire the pertinent meanings of the Quran to their everyday lives and to the world around them.
So obviously, from what you have said, when people translate the word kafir as infidel, or these are very problematic.
This is. I want to be bold enough to say, and I think this is a fact that Muslims should wake up to. There's been a type of, I'm going to create a word here, a type of biblicization of the Quran. So, the translators just borrowed words from the Bible and interjected those words to translate the original meanings of the Quran. We have to detach ourselves from that type of, intrusion. Christians and Jews, they have their own issues. I'm not trying to get on anyone's nerves here, but I'm just trying to liberate the Muslims in their understanding of the Quran from that type of understanding of the Bible.
Yeah. In the Quran, there are perhaps 70, 80 ayats that start with Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, and an average translation or general translation will say they invariably say, "Oh, you who believe." I know that you look at it, you explain it differently. Please elaborate that, please.
Yeah, once again, this has to do with borrowing, Muslim translators borrowing from the terminology of the Bible. When someone says, "Oh, you who believe," now, what type of functionality comes out of belief? Someone can believe anything. You believe in God, you believe in, some people believe in Satan, some people believe in idols, some people don't believe. And so what does believe mean when we really want to come down to what are we doing here in our interactions with ourselves? Belief itself does not necessitate a follow-up action, a program of doing things, a plan of what am I to do? If I believe, what am I to do? Belief sort of leaves you in a limbo position. You can believe, you cannot believe. It does. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, He is, and for those who read the Quran, please pay attention. Always after the statement, that opening statement in the ayah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who are securely committed, meaning to Allah, there's always a type of responsibility that follows. So there's an attachment between what the conviction of a person and what he does. There's no separation there, or there is no disconnect between the two. So the word believe leaves room for secularism. In Islam, we don't have secularism. The wording, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, dismisses any notion of secularism.
Right. Now, in the Quranic terminology, there's another one. I don't think we'll have enough time to go into complete detail, but I want to touch on that, and then we'll come back to it again. In the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the characteristics of the mu'mins in the first few ayats. Then he describes what the kafirs are. And then there is a long series of ayats exposing the munafiqeen. If you could please touch on, I know that this is a long question. We are going to go into the next episode and elaborate more, but on this one, the munafiqeen, if you could touch on that, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that's true. The first few ayat in the second chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, it begins with describing those who are committed to Allah. Then there are a couple of ayat after that that describe those who are against Allah in theory, and not in practice, because that becomes shirk and dhulm. So those who are in their minds against God, there's only two ayat that describe them, because you don't need much description to know who they are. They declare who they are. But there is an ambiguous group of people who say that they are committed to God. They appear, they present themselves as being committed to God, but in reality, at their core, they are against Him. These are called al-munafiqeen. That most translators use the word hypocrites to describe the word munafiqeen or define the word munafiqeen. I went further than that because there is a context. When you see the word munafiqeen in the Quran, there's a larger context in which they are defined. And that context has to do with loyalty. So the munafiqeen can be better described as dual loyalists. They present themselves with one loyalty. They'll tell the Muslims, oh, we are Muslims, we are committed Muslims just like you, we are part of your crowd and all of this. But in fact, they are not. They are with the enemies of the Muslims. That's their true character, and that's why there are many ayat that follow. I didn't count them, anyone can count them, probably about 10 or 15 ayat that try to shed light on these types of characters. And when you come to the end of these 10 or 15 ayat, it is revealed that their true nature is al-kafirin.
Right.
They are those who are rejecting Allah's authority.
We'll inshallah continue with this discussion. We have come to the end of another episode. You've been watching and listening to my discussion with Imam Muhammad Al-Asi with respect to some of the concepts of the Noble Quran, and these are of course contained in these translations that we have produced, particularly the English only version. We request everybody to please get their own copies as well as sponsor copies for others who may be non-Muslims who can benefit from this. You've been watching Ramadan Journey. I'm Zafar Bangash. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you in another episode. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.